this is what I really want to get into, Killer Army, because you guys' debut album recently celebrated 23 years. The 24th anniversary is coming up. So the beginnings of Killer Army, for the fans who don't know, Don Pacino and Killa Sin weren't in the picture back then. And at the time when forming Killer Army, it took some time to put everybody together. So I understand that you, Islord, and Shotgun all grew up together, if I got my facts right.
Shogun.
Yes, sir.
Me, Islord, Shogun.
Kinetic 9?
Well, I met Kinetic later on. Even though he's from around, you know, I didn't know him until later on. He came into the picture a little later. Actually around the same time. He came into the picture before Don Pacino and Killa Sin, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but far as like the time period of me knowing RZA and things like that, he came into the picture later, like years later.
Where you stand off?
Them brothers are younger. You know, they're a little younger than me. Except for Shogun. Shogun, Islord might be a year older than me though, actually.
Okay.
Islord might be a year or two years older than me.
So it's like different generations all in one, because obviously Nine Prince was around. That's RZA's brother.
No, he was around. He went to school, you know, with us.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's how we met RZA, because RZA had family where I'm from in my hometown. That's how I went to school with high school with his younger brother. And that's how I met RZA, through his brother.
And at the time now too, like, did you, like, obviously you didn't see that time of being a group with them now, but when you were forming, like before, like everyone was like, we're Killer Army, were you kind of like, I don't want to do something like that right now, kind of want to focus on producing like individual tracks? Like, did you know that you wanted to fully do Silent Weapons?
I didn't want to do KILLARMY when the idea was brought to me. I was opposed to it.
And like, how did they come up to you with it? Like, how did they say, like,
they didn't come up to me?
Oh wow.
It was my brother General Wise, who we talk about in the KILLARMY music.
Yes, sir.
A lot, who passed away. He begged me to do it.
Oh wow.
And he gave us the funding to start, to get my first studio set up. You know, so that was my payment to do it, to work with them.
Wow, he gave you a whole studio to do that? Wow.
You know, it was my startup. I had a Mackie board and one ADAT and one little cheap compressor and a microphone. But that was my startup. That, you know, that was the set off. From there, I built it on. You know what I mean?
Was that in 95?
Yeah, this is earlier. This is like 92, 93.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like 92. Yeah.
So, wow, I never knew, like, it was taking it that far back.
It's like 91, 92. Yeah.
Wow. So, like, the beginnings actually go way back. Like, we're talking, like even before, like, 36 Chambers was released. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, I met RZA. I had demo. I wish I still had the demos with Ghost and Dirty. I had stuff I recorded with them back then. Like, you know, like, yeah, man. It's just crazy.
So so like, even like with that now too, like when you first all got, like, well, I should ask this. When Killer Army first decided to start recording Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, what initially was the first track like everybody recorded together?
It didn't make the album.
Oh wow! So there's stuff that.
Well, one of the demo songs. I talked about this in a previous interview as well. Because there's some of the songs from those demos that actually made the Silent Weapon album. The songs that on the album is the actual demo that we recorded in my grandmother's basement, you know, on that original setup that I'm telling you about, with the 1/8 the Mackie board. And how I used to do it, the beat would be synced to the keyboard. My Roland W30, which I was using at the time, would be synced to the ADAT. So when you hit play on the ADAT, the beat start playing. So I would just record the vocals on the ADAT, and the beat would play live from the machine. So you would do all your mix downs or whatever you would program the key, program that in the keyboard, or you have to do the mutes live on the Mackie board, like your drops, taking out the drums and stuff like that. I had to do that by hand, manually. There wasn't no automation for the Pro Tools to program it to do that for you.
Yeah,
know,
no clicking or nothing.
Yeah, you had to do that shit, and if you got it wrong, you had to rewind the tape and record it all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I forgot where I was going with it. God damn. I forgot where I was going. What was
like the creative project, like the first song y'all recorded as a group together.
Oh yeah, so Seems It Never Fails.
Oh wow.
That's a demo. And Shelter.
So did you know, like, just because they were demos, like, did you know, like, these may not make the, like, we're just doing this just to make sure we get a deal? Because back then,
we always knew we wanted to use those songs. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah. Those were like songs like, yeah, these has got to be on the album. You know, whenever we finish the album, these joints is going on the album. So that, you know, and plus we had got, like, with Seems It Never Fails, we got a lot of support from clan members with that track. You know, like Ray loved that song, Ghost loved that song, RZA loved that song. You know, people used to love that song when they heard it, you know.
Because KILLARMY had its own cult following. Like I heard like stories about people used to have like, they're like, if you were a true Wu fan, they would have like KILLARMY posters in their room. And I remember the first time I ever seen like the Dirty Weapon, my cousin had, like, he made like printed off the computer, but it was huge though. That's on like KILLARMY. So taking it back to Sound of Weapons and Quiet Wars, because you know how release parties are now, like the big go to the club, flyers everywhere. How was the release party for that album?
I wasn't there.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Now, I missed a lot of stuff.
Wow, okay. So that, but even for you though, that was your fully produced album, except for War Faces and I think Swin and Swords. I know RZA did too.
Warface and yeah, RZA did too. Warface and Wake Up.
There we go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, with Sons of Man.
Yeah.
So at the time now too, like, how accomplished did you feel like having a fully produced album under Fourth Disciple? Because that was initially your first fully produced album, if for the public, should I say?
Oh yeah, that's you know, that's a beautiful feeling. Definitely. You know, major accomplishment for sure.
Especially for like the 97 too. Like that was like golden era.
Yeah, because I had something I wanted to prove. That was like I felt like that was my introduction into the game. That's how I felt. I felt like, you know, this was my introduction. Even though I had production on previous things,
this was all yours, pretty much.
Yeah, I felt like I get to show people what I can do right here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I get to display my skill. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it definitely, you know, that I can't even, it was a major accomplishment, you know what I'm saying? And I tilt my hat in honors to RZA and Vine for giving me the opportunity, you know, to display my skill to the world, you know.
Like, you know, I kind of relate to Ninth more, or I kind of relate to Istor more. Like, did you have like that certain connection of one of the KILLARMY members?
Yeah, me and B9 was real.
Oh.
You know, we was like that. We was, you know, Ace Boo Coons. Me and Killa Sin was cool too. Me and Killa Sin, we was tight.
Now I always hear
and Don Pacino, we get along. You know, me and him, you know, we both Gemini, so we be twinning it up. You know what I mean? So that's like my Puerto Rican brother from another mother. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
Dom's still doing his thing too, right there. Salute to Dom. A lot of people wanted me to ask you this. The last time you talked to Killa Sin, and do you know his status of if he's out?
I haven't. Nope. I haven't. Nope. Sad to say, I don't.
Because Killa Sin, man, like this guy was like, oh my god, like he's kind of like Timbo Kin in his own certain way, because Timbo Kin is a rare breed, but we only got one Timbo Kin album from Babylon to Timbuktu. one of my biggest things was I really wish that Killa Sin would have had you produce one of his albums, like how Hellraiser did Freedom for Speech. Like I would have wished that would have happened. So if Killa Sin decided to like say all of his labor problems, he got that over with. He called you, say Joe Forth, I want to get back
on it. We on it.
All right, that's good to know.
We on it.
But do you also feel that way too about Killa Sin? Like he should have that debut solo
Killa
album?
Sin should be on his at least third album by now. You know, that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Because it ain't like he don't got the work ethic. When he get in the booth, he go in.
Yeah.
You know I mean, so I know he could put together an album like nothing if he just put the time to it. So, you know, yeah, that happened, I'm all in.
Cause I like how like even with like a Sons of Man, like we still got a 60-second Assassin solo album, but like, you know, I always say like, man, just the Killa Sin, man. But so I like how you said that though. He should be on his third album though, because he has such standout. He has a standout verse on Bronze, The Great Migration, and on that soundtrack, The Iron Fist. Like he has a whole solo song to himself on there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, yo, Killa Sin, if you see this, man, I really hope you get in contact with Forth, man, because yo, people are still checking for you, Killa Sin, if you hear this, man. Believe it or not.
I know he got some music. You know, he was working on some, you know, some things before, the unfortunate circumstances took place. But hey, man.
Now, at the time now, too, this is what my followers really wanted me to ask you about the making of the second KILLARMY album, Dirty Weaponry. I know about the cover already, I asked that to Ninth Prince, but I forgot to ask him too, how did you feel about Hologram appearing on like half the album and he wasn't even a part of KILLARMY? I ain't gonna say he killed those verses, but
Holocaust?
Yeah. Oh yeah, my bad, Holocaust.
The hologram. I'm like,
my bad, Holocaust, for you listening.
You said a hologram, man, on the hologram hogging up the album.
Yeah, yo, my bad, Holocaust.
But nah, ain't nobody feel no type of way. He fitted the mold. You know what I mean? It was new energy. You know, we was all in California at the time.
Oh, so that was done.
Yeah, we recorded that album in California. Yeah.
Yeah, because the first one was done in Ohio, and then y'all finished it in New York. But wow, I never knew that one was.
Oh yeah, the first one was done. Some songs were done in Ohio. We went to New York to record it.
Did you also shoot the first
when we came back home from doing that? Unfortunate circumstances took place. Me and Don Pacino got shot.
Oh wow.
Together while we was together.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a whole lot of stuff sparked off from that. We had to exile somebody from the group. So that made us, and we had to go back and re-record, restructure the whole album. We had to remove the brother from the album. So there was a initial KILLARMY member that was removed from, from all the music and everything. So we had to go fill in the blanks, see what we're going to put, so we had to we had to go back, restructure the whole album all over again. So we ended up removing some songs, recording some new songs, replacing his verse with somebody else, things like that.
And that was for the first album, right?
Yeah, that's for the first album.
Wow. See, like, this is what I like about having stories like that, because it makes you think, like, would it got the same reception if this other member was in there, or what if this other member was in there? So,
yeah. Well, he was nice. He was neck and neck with Killa Sin.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
He's nice. He's nice. He still got talent to this day.
See, well, besides Killa Sin, I always get the flack for this though, because I like the weird shit. I always liked Ninth Prince's flow because it was kind of offbeat. It was like so unorthodox at the time. I'm like, yeah, I like this guy right here.
Yeah, it was different.
But do you hardly ever hear people like Ninth Prince was my favorite member? Do you ever go Don Pacino, Killa Sin? I was like always arguing when they're picking. I'm like Ninth Prince, Madman, because that was another song that was supposed to be on there but didn't make it. Right? It was a Ninth Prince
demo.
song.
Yeah. Demo. Yeah. That was a dope song too. Madman. We had Trey Pound 7, Do or Die.
Do you still listen to these?
Nah, I don't. I wish I had them. That's what this is. A
Oh,
lot of this stuff got lost, man. This is a
yeah.
lot of lost material.
Yeah, and you can't even like
But
replace
some
that.
of this stuff though, I believe somebody still, because some of this stuff was recorded on the reel, so somebody got the masters.
Oh, so somebody still
Whoever
has.
got the masters somewhere. You know what I'm saying? To some of this stuff, because some of the stuff, like I said, was on the ADATs.
Yeah, and that's all gone.
But the masters that, from the mix down to the DAT, the small digital tape, the DAT player, yeah, them little cassette joints, the small cassettes
that you used to put in the voice recorder.
Yeah, those are somewhere too. You got them somewhere too. So.
See, and like that's what I like about like having like interviews like this now too, because we know like if there's real still existing, then one of these label companies has to have it at the time, or somebody has to have it. Like I bet you it's in a box. They have no idea what it is.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. Like stuff just get lost in the warehouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, I can only imagine some of the shit that was like gone in the warehouse. Because I understand now too.